for coming. This is the #1 panel I've been looking forward to in Phoenix Comicon, so really appreciate it. Just curious, when you were doing Futurama and you were doing the voice of the Donbot and the Clamps, and they would have a scene where they're talking to each other, would you do it in one take where you would just jump back and forth between voices, or would you record one voice and then on the recording, like basically talk to that recording?
You know, I gotta tell you. It's a very good question. It's the kind of question a guy can get clamped for. What do you think, clamps? Yeah, boss, you want me to give him the clamps? I'll give him the clamps. I am back for that, boss. No clamps. No clamps. Seems like a nice enough guy. But you keep it up, we're gonna mafia things up a bit, okay? That's right, boss. I'm here to mafia it up. That's the way we do it. And Billy West, you know, if we'd had to do it the other way, where we just stopped and did all his lines in one character, we'd have been there forever. Billy West maybe is a little bit better than me at playing three characters in the scene, talking amongst himself. But he had a lot of opportunities to do that. So he'd be the professor, and Zoidberg, and Fry. And he'd have 2-3 pages of dialogue where it was just him. There you go, one take. Okay, let's move on. He had it, you know, he just had it. He just does. And so, you know, I mean, I got decent at that on The Critic, where I had to play a lot. One episode, I think I played 27 characters in one episode. So I got good at it too. So that's the way we work, you know, that's part of our stock in trade, is to be able to do all the characters in the scene. Yeah, I did Al Franken's radio show, Senator Al Franken, back when he was doing radio. And Mel, it was Al, he played Dick Cheney. Meg Ryan played my wife, and I played like 7 different characters, and we did it radio play style. And one of the great thrills for me.
What's your Tupac story?
What's my what?
Tupac story?
Tupac?
Yeah.
I don't have a Tupac story. I'm going to blame John DiMaggio for that question. I have a Tupac story?
Apparently. He said it on the commentary of I Know That Voice. So.
I've got a Tupac story. Well, Tupac and I walked into a bar. No, I have no Tupac story. I'm so sorry. Excuse me while I just tweet to John. WTF is the Tupac story. Jesus Christ on a cracker. Sorry. I gotta pass on that one.
Okay.
You get another question.
Yeah.
Because you're all right, okay? Yeah. Every time I wipe sweat off my brow, because it's a dry heat, apparently, so it's flame. So, do Robbie Dangerfield for you. Yeah.
Okay, so, you mentioned The Critic, and in that you usually did a lot of the celebrity voices in that.
Yes.
Like, did that just come from, you know, your background in improv, or?
Well, my background in stand-up, and funnily enough, Mike Reese and Al Jean, when they were just starting out and writing, they actually wrote for Johnny Carson. They were down at the Comedy Store all the time, you know, looking at new comedians. They knew my work from that, and I didn't know, you know, that they were sort of, you know, boosters of mine. So they hired me based on my ability. They thought, we're writing a show about, you know, with celebrity clips in it. We should get that young impressionist guy you remember from the early '80s. So that was how that came about. And we remain friends to this day. And Al still throws me on The Simpsons a couple of times a year, just to, you know, if there's a voice that Harry or Hank, you know, or Dan don't, you know, feel comfortable with, or whatever they, you know, like for they had me do Toucan Sam in an episode, you know, and then had me do Captain Crunch as well. But they promoted him to Admiral. It was Admiral Crunchy.
I'm a big fan of Disney. You've done some movies like Frozen and TV shows like House of Mouse, Mickey Mouse Works, and Pepper Ann. Yes. What's your most favorite Disney role?
My most favorite Disney role I would have to say it's Mr. Big. You know, Zootopia. So far, I mean, I love
Mouse.
What's that?
Mortimer.
Ha-cha-cha. Well, thank you for asking that question, pal. Mortimer came from, you know, he was an original character back in the 30s, and so they showed me that. And the audio on it was terrible, So it was very muffled, but I knew it had that kind of almost John Lovitz-y kind of cadence to it. So I really just kind of Lovitzed it up, you know, without putting any of that, well, the critic. You know, I took him a little more 30s. But thank you for liking Mortimer. I'm just, you know, what's being done now with Zootopia and the many levels that Zootopia works on, I'm just so proud to be associated with that film. And Big's a fun character. I don't know how many of you have seen the film, but it drops on Tuesday, by the way, on DVD and Blu-ray and on video. So I hope you guys all go out and buy it.
With all the animation and all the different work that you've done over the years, is there any interesting or any like behind the scenes or funny stories that you have between working from different shows, different movies, short films?
Apparently I met Tupac once. Well, you know, I mean, what's interesting, I'm always amazed anybody who wants, you know, to know anything about what I do. I mean, in my life, it's like go into dark room with carpeting on walls and different sort of pieces of foam rubber. Look at words, read them into microphone, go home, collect check. That's sort of my bottom line view of my life. And you know, when I've got friends visiting from out of town and they say they really want to come watch me work, I said, "Do you want to watch a fat man stand up at a mic and just say stuff?" You know, but apparently, you know, I mean, I know, and I'm immensely grateful for this chance I've been given to do this very longevity, you know, laden career. I can do this and will do this until they wheel me out toes up from a studio. You know, hopefully many years from now. You know, because you can't. There's no overexposure. You just change your voice. Nobody gets too used to your voice because you can change. I can change it. So I'm just, you know, I view it as winning the lottery, but I took the 26 annual payments instead of the lump sum. Because I had a lot of friends, Jerry Seinfeld, I was friends with Gary Shandling, God rest his soul. And you know, I sort of felt at one point in my life like, wow, it's never going to happen for me. I'm never going to get the big TV series and the, you know, $250,000 a week paycheck, you know, per episode. And, you know, and it's like, it's all a bunch of BS I laid on myself because I think I've got a new great life. And I've got a curriculum vitae, if you will, of shows that people will enjoy for decades and have enjoyed for decades. I've gotten to keep working, and that's all an actor wants to do. You know, I get to work every day. Some people are on a sitcom for 4 years, and yeah, they make a few $1 million bucks, and they're kind of set for life if they invest well, and they never work again. They're miserable because they go, I only see you as that character. I get to be a character every day. So thank you guys for keeping on tuning in and giving me that kind of longevity. Thank you very much.
In Animaniacs, you play the brain, and it's absolutely hilarious. I love watching it.
Thank you.
But what's your best Pinky impression?
It's not very good. That's what makes Rob Paulson Rob Paulson. That's why he got an Emmy for Pinky and the Brain. You know, that character is infused so much more than just goofy. It's so lovable. You just can't help but love Pinky. But you know, my best Pinky impression. Gee, Brain, what do you want to do tonight? That's as good as it gets. Same thing we do every night, Pinky. You play your role and I'll play mine. And Rob Paulson sends his love, apologizes for not being able to be here. He has been put on strict voice rest by his doctor. He had a very tough recording session for a video game, and he really you know, blew out his vocal cords, so he's been put on strict voice rest. So he apologizes to you all for not being here. He wishes he could be here, but he sends his love.
Hi, big fan.
Thank you.
Now, I have a question. When the Nostalgia Critic asked you to do a role for the brain...
Oh, yeah. Remember, it was like it was yesterday.
What was your reaction when he told you to actually do a role where you and him finally divorce each other.
Yeah, I didn't know, he didn't explain the concept. You have to, the unfortunate thing is that the animation dropped on the internet before the whole episode did. So there were a lot of people who wrote me and said, why did you do that? You ruined my childhood. If I have that kind of power, oh well, I really should take over the world. But it was part of a larger episode where the point of preventing a terrible apocalyptic future is breaking up Pinky and the Brain. But when he got us up to his hotel room, all he did was, he interviewed us for his show, and they said, would you guys record a little something I've written? We do that. I mean, come to my table, you want me to do your answering machine, I'll do that. Some little cost involved, but I'll do that. My agent makes me, I've got a guarantee I've got to meet, so, but I'll do it. So I thought, all right, we'll go do his answering machine or something like that. So we get up to the hotel room, and here's this F-laden thing, where we're just swearing at each other. What are we doing this? Trust me, it'll be fun. Okay, we'll do it. We said we'd do it. I'm a man of my word, and, we'll do it. So we did it. And so when I'm turning to him at the end there, and they cut to real life, and we're in the hotel room, and I go, you sure this is for kids? I'm not kidding around. I'm like, really, are you sure this is for kids? I mean, what are we doing? So, but it ended up being kind of brilliant. If you watch the whole episode of the Nostalgia Critic, it ends up being a kind of a brilliant episode. Yeah, so sorry for your childhood ruin. Brain will never say shit again.
Thank you. Okay, sorry, I'm horrible at public speaking. I want to say thank you. You're fantastic.
Actually, you have a very nice voice.
Oh,
I'm not kidding. Yeah,
I appreciate it.
Don't be afraid of public speaking.
What was your favorite Futurama character that you played?
So it's such a rich palette. They gave me so many characters. And did you have a follow-up on that, or?
Oh yeah, and then did you cry at Fry's dog?
Let me tell you something. I've never seen the episode. I cried at the table meeting. We read that episode, and David Cohen described the final scene. I'm sitting there going. So I can't watch that episode based on what I already know. I've never watched the episode, but I know people, grown men, who just can't think about it. So, yeah. But my favorite Futurama character, it's like asking you to pick amongst your children. I mean, I love Lur, ruler of the planet Omicron Persei. Because he's kind of Big Bob Pataki from Hey Arnold meets Morbo. They're not the same voice. I know I make that joke constantly on the commentaries and wherever I appear, but they really aren't the same. Morbo is a newscaster and very stentorian. And Lur is just, he's a kid. Anything he says gets done, so, and her flavor-free omelets. I do love Lieutenant Cliff Croker. He has a vulnerability, and yet he's got courage when called upon. So Cliff may be right up there, but I love Lur because Lur won me an Emmy. So. Of course, Calculon won me the other one because of his unholy acting talent! Thank you. That was some free acting for you. Normally you have to sit through a tampon commercial to get acting of that caliber. No autographs, please. Except down at my table for 25 minutes.
Well, thank you for coming. And my question harkens back to Pinky and the Brain. Out of all of Brain's schemes, which one is the one that you would have really wished to have seen succeed?
We did see one succeed.
That's that episode.
No, you didn't. How many people here saw the Christmas episode? Our Emmy-winning Christmas episode? That plan succeeded. The beauty of the plan was, the beauty of the episode is, he has the world in the palm of his hand. But he's so touched by Pinky's gesture and by the letter that he wrote to Santa. That he's so filled with the spirit of Christmas that all he can do is command everyone to have a very Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Joy to the world. And then he destroys the machine. But he had the world in his hand. He took over the world for about 7 seconds. And what he did with it was command everybody to have a Merry Christmas. That's why it's my favorite Pinky and the Brain episode. You see, the Brain is not a villain. The Brain wants to take over the world because he truly believes that with his 275 IQ, he can actually make it a better place. And that's the way I always played the character, and that's the way that they began to write the character when I said, this is how I have to play him. You can't play a villain. You can't play a guy who thinks he's doing the wrong thing. You have to play a guy as though he's doing the right thing, even if he's the most vile character in the world. Heath Ledger's Joker actually has a moral center. It's not yours and my moral center, but he does have a center that he's coming from where he thinks that he's helping people by showing them the world is a chaotic place. And there is nothing but chaos. And of course he gets his jollies watching people die. But anyway, I get my jollies watching people laugh. Yes, sir.
Okay, so you already said you didn't watch the episode with Fried's dog.
Right.
But how often are you able to sit back and kind of watch some of your episodes? And are you able to do that after spending so much time in the studio with the script?
I usually don't watch things fresh off the presses. It's too new to me, and I just hear me, and I remember what I was thinking as we were recording, and maybe I was, in between takes going, oh, we're bringing in for lunch, or something like that. But if some time goes by, I can watch a couple of years later. Like Pinky and the Brain to me is now a terrific cartoon show about 2 lab mice who are dear friends. You can't show him how much he loves him. But they're dear friends, and they just happen to try to take over the world every episode. And I watch that, and I'm somewhat divorced from it, so I can enjoy it without that sort of judgment in my head about what I did. And should I, waited a little longer on that line, on that note, held that note a little longer, given a little longer pause between each thing. I now watch it and just enjoy it. So it's comedy plus time for me. So I can go back to things and enjoy them, but fresh off the presses, I'm too critical of myself.
So we know that Pinky and the Brain were never on the same page when they were pondering, were you pondering what I'm pondering, but what was your favorite Pinky pondering moment?
I think the one that Rob Paulson breaks out most of the time when we're together. And again, my very poor Pinky. Pinky, are you pondering what I'm pondering? Well, I think so, Brain, but if Jimmy cracks corn and no one cares, why does he keep doing it? It's one of the great questions of life.
If they made a Pinky and the Brain movie, would you want it to be live action or...
I'm so sorry, could you just, if you can, come in a little more on the mic?
If Pinky and the Brain was going to be a movie, would you want it to be live action or regular 2D animation?
What I would like it to be brilliant CGI of Pinky and the Brain, but in a human world. Just what they can do with CGI, and I'd love for them to start the movie with, 2 regular mice, and cinematically shoot 2 mice going through the thing, and they come out these misshapen characters, but they interact in a real world. That would be if I could. If I were a rich man, if I could finance my own Pinky and the Brain picture, that's how I'd start the film. And we pile on all the celebrities as the people they encounter as they try to take over the world. Be one of those journey picture, a quest, and but that's the way I'd like to see it.
I think Rob had the same question when I was talking to his podcast, except they did it live action, like Russell Brand and Peter Dean.
No, that's me. I said I'm almost in no hurry for them to make it. Because I fear in this time of celebrity stunt casting, they won't use us as Pinky and the Brain. That's why I said put all the celebrities around Pinky and the Brain. But when you went to see the Transformers movie, and Optimus Prime had his first line, and you heard Peter Cullen, the voice from your childhood, right? Didn't you just get like a chill up your spine? holy shit, I mean, when I was sitting there, everybody was saying, holy shit, it's the real Optimus. You know? And I was a little upset that Frank Welker didn't play Megatron. I mean, Hugo Weaving's a tremendous actor, but it's not that it needed to be Hugo Weaving. I think people would have gotten a big thrill if it was Frank. You know? So, but anyway, Frank got to be other characters in the picture, and that's my own little bugaboo. I don't begrudge celebrities any work in voiceover. I believe you've got a SAG card, I've got a SAG card, we all deserve to be in the picture. But when it's iconic characters, I'm not talking, I don't mean talk my character up too much, but you know, they kind of made a little mark, those two guys. And I'm not saying it as me, I'm saying it as those guys. The characters themselves, they're the stars. But part of that stardom is the chemistry between Ron Paulson and Maurice Lamarche. So I would probably be very depressed. I mean, it's certainly much more so than the depression or whatever seems to be going on right now over Woman Ghostbusters. I think that's actually going to be terrific. You can't bring back, you know, God rest his soul, Harold Ramis. And we can't make it with the Ghostbusters at the age of Peter, you know, being the age Bill is and all that. You know, this is going to be a fresh take on it. But with Pinky and the Brain, they're animated. They don't have to age. And that dynamic, I think, was what sold the show all those years. So hopefully, if they ever do, they won't use Peter Dinklage and Russell Brand. That's Pinky and the Brain. Even though Peter would probably be better for the mocap. Yeah. I just shot myself in the foot. This is going to go up on YouTube, and Spielberg's going to see it and go, yeah, okay. As soon as Dinklage raps Game of Thrones. So that's, but yeah, I'd love to do it, and if they ever make it, it's all part of the universe. Paulson and I are both standing at the ready. But celeb casting. Would you guys like celebs in the rules? Come on, lead a revolt. Would you guys like celebs in the roles of Pinky and the Brain? Pitchforks there, look at them. Pitchforks. Stephen, pay attention, there are pitchforks in the back.
You are a celebrity.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm at best a quasi-celebrity. Thank you very much.
I don't think I can follow that. I wondered, do you wait to develop the voice of a character until the character exists and is in front of you? Or do you ever develop potential characters and wait for the right matchup to use an idea that's already in your head?
I do both, to be honest with you. You know, I'm constantly trying out things with my voice, just different vocal tensions, or some strange person I meet, you know, that I think has a weird take on the way they speak, and I'll look at them, and I'm almost like you know, Siler from Heroes. You know, I'm almost like I wish I could just slice their head open with my brain and pull their voice up. But I listen and I start repeating after them, and you know, I look odd when I do it. And then I bank it, and then I take out my little voice memo thing on my iPhone, and I'll do the person's voice into the phone, and then I'll name that file interesting voice number 4, whatever it is, and email it to myself. So then I just filter for interesting voice, and sometimes if I'm lost for like guy number 3, I'll find that. Other times I look at the one sheet, not the one sheet, that's for theater. I look at the model sheet, and look, in the case of Brain, I had no idea what they wanted, but I saw that arched eyebrow and that pronounced forehead, and I just saw Orson Welles. They didn't have Orson Welles in mind, but that face was Orson Welles to me. So I did Orson Welles, and so very often I'm informed by the artwork, and I just sort of think that artwork has a new skin for myself, and I sort of in my mind climb into that skin and feel like what I say.
I wanted to ask you about Zootopia.
Yes.
When you were Mr. Big,
Yes.
did they alter your voice at all?
They did. It's the only voice I do where I can't like reproduce it for you right here and have it sound like it does in the movie. They gave it an 18 to 24% pitch upwards, depending on the scene. And the engineer told me it's 8 semitones higher than what we recorded.
So I can do the performance for you, and I can say, I have to, baby. Daddy has to.
But they took it up. So I can't ever just do it and have people go, oh wow, that's the voice from the movie. I mean, if you can hear it in the performance, that's great. Whereas the king in Frozen is actually, you know, a version of my actual speaking voice. I didn't do anything except whisper. I just kind of did, you know, just, actually I change it whenever I meet young children now who want a picture of the king. I take their hand and I go, feel it, don't conceal it. Let your gifts and your feelings show. These gloves won't help. So, I reverse everything, you know. Because the king he's not the villain of the piece in the classic sense, but what he says to his daughter, you know, triggers the dysfunction that just makes everything start to go wrong in the movie. So if he hadn't have said that, she might have had a normal life. Of course, there'd be no movie, but you know. So that's my take on doing voices. And Jennifer Lee just said, you know, I just want to hear you. Just give me you. You're the first person in 30 years that's asked for that. But okay. Anyone? Yes.
If you could go back and do any show, whether it's like working with the cast and crew where they serve the best lunches, which one would it be?
The best lunches, did you say?
Well, which show would you go back and do if it was just, for whatever reason, what show would you go back?
Oh, okay. I thought you were asking me which show had the best lunch.
You can answer that one too.
The Critic, actually. The Critic, we would just go up to the 20th Century Fox commissary and have lunch every week. It was really great because you see these huge stars and these studio heads, and you just realized, oh wow, I guess I got here. I did okay. Yeah, there's the head of 20th Century Fox over there. But the one I would want to do all over again, and would hope to do more of someday, is Pinky and the Brain. And well, I'm very close to my Futurama. And you know, and every time I see Matt Groening, you know, he says, don't count Futurama out. It may be a while, but you know, he would love for it to come back, and it's his baby. And you know, you might see something. This is not a confirmation by any means. There's nothing in the works. But when a guy with Matt Groening's, you know, clout and money wants something done, it generally somehow gets done. So hopefully we'll do it before Billy West is 85. But if Billy West is 85, I know one thing about him. His voice will still sound like Fry because he's the most awesome voice guy I've ever met. Well, on par with Frank Welker, and he also does nothing to, you know, to hurt his cords. He's a vegan, he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink, he doesn't do drugs. So those cords are pure. And the same with Welker, by the way. They both live extremely clean lives. I unfortunately had a little love affair with cigars in the 80s and 90s and part of the 1000s, and finally quit them in 2007. Yeah, it's left me a little gravel, which is great for things like the 2016 Lexus GS. Once driven, there's no going back. See the Lexus dealer. You know, I can't do the high-end stuff. I can't get up there into the falsetto range anymore because I just suck too much nicotine down onto my cords. So, you know, don't smoke. If you want a career in this business, don't smoke. Thank you. And if you do smoke, stop. It's uncomfortable for about 4 days. For about 4 days, it feels like there's like, you know, Fred and Barney inside your brain going, hey, Fred, tickle it with a feather. Okay, not stop until you smoke. And then, you know, like when they're inside that whale, that episode. You know, and after that, you're done. You're done. Cravings are over. All you have are thoughts, and your thoughts will pass within 5 minutes. That's how I quit smoking. Somebody gave me that little clue. They said, 5 minutes, and the craving's over whether you give into it or not. You know, you're only having thoughts. You're not having the physical nicotine craving. And I've stuck with that for about 9 years. Yes, sir.
So
you're not going to neuralize me, are you?
No.
I want to remember this panel. This is actually being a tremendous. This is a tremendous experience.
So what I know you best from is Futurama, but recently I figured out that you were actually on one of my favorite shows, Rick and Morty.
I love Rick and Morty.
Me too. Yeah.
I love Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon. I love all of those people.
And so I was wondering if you're going to be doing any more work for them later.
I come when called. When Justin and Dan call, I come back down. I've done a couple of episodes for the new season. You know, Justin, the first time I walked into a Rick and Morty session was episode 2, where the dog takes over. And Rob Paulson's so brilliant as Snowball the dog. But I play that little accountant character. But I didn't know anything about this show or this guy. I walk in and, you know, he's a kid. He's like 31, 32 at the time. And, you know, I said, so what made you hire me to be a dog accountant? And what do these lines mean? He said, when I was a kid, you know, teenager, I, you know, started studying art. And I used to come home and watch Animaniacs and Pinky and the Brain. And I swore to myself, if I ever was lucky enough to have a show, when I, you know, became an adult, got into this world, I would use you guys. You know, I would work with you guys. I want to work with you. So that day, at episode 2, you'll notice, if you look at the credits, Rob Paulson, Tress McNeil, Jess Harnell, Maurice Lamarche. And he's been true to it. One of us has been in almost every episode. Or we've, you know, cross-pollinated. And so, you know, I mean, Adolf Linkler. What a character, you know. Allow me to emancipate you from your inferior genes. You know, it's just so great. And Dan's a genius, and I just love those guys. So such a thrill to be a part of such a genius show. Yes?
Speaking of geniuses, what is it like working with Steven Spielberg?
Well, you know, Steven only came to one session, on a Tiny Toon session, and it was the day that I was sick, so I actually missed. He signed a Disney Devil model sheet. And just said, Maurice, where were you? Steven. You know, I had the flu. So that was the only time that I would have had a chance to work with him. I did get to meet him twice. They threw this huge party on the Warner Brothers lot, and you know, we had Yakko, Wacko, and Dot actually hanging from the water tower, giant figurines of them. And so I got to meet him, and he's got this incredible gift of making you feel like you're the only person in the room. You know? His eyes never go anywhere but on you, has a conversation with you, and then he threw this at a similar party 2 years later. And when I met him, again, I didn't need to be reintroduced. He remembered my name, he remembered what we talked about, and it was like, I was like, wow, I can't remember, you know, this was 20 years ago. I was still, you know, relatively young. I'm very unfocused, and I have difficulty with names and that sort of thing, so it's a really amazing facility for him to have. So, it was great. It was very inspiring. You know, when a guy of this caliber goes, you know, your work's pretty good. I'd like to work with you. You go, guess all the hard work paid off. Guess the acting classes. Guess you don't suck at your job. Keep doing it.
I think we have.
Are we out of questions?
I think we have time for one more. Just one more.
Okay.
Are there any roles that you've passed up that you regret?
Are there any roles I passed up that I regret? No. No. There are no roles I passed up that I regret. I did pass up something that when there was the boom of flash animation for online. There was one particularly poor taste cartoon, and I played. You know, there was by the same company did something called Hard Drinkin' Lincoln, where Abraham Lincoln was an alcoholic, and I played John Wilkes Booth, and I shot him in every episode. That wasn't, you know, I felt it's not too soon. It's okay. But there was one that was highly religiously offensive. And I'm not particularly religious, but I'm sensitive to other people's religiosity, and I didn't want to be part of something that could really, you know, just upset people at a spiritual level. So I walked away from that. I don't regret it at all. Yeah. That's about it. I mean, that's as controversial as I get. So.
And in closing, my final question to you, Maurice, is what advice do you give aspiring voice actors?
The advice that Rob Paulson and I, we're on the same page with this because we get asked this question a lot together. And we almost answer in unison. Become a good actor first. Your voice is important, obviously, otherwise it's pantomime. But, you know, everybody's got a voice, and a lot of people can manipulate their voices to do other things, and some people only have one voice. I have a dear friend, Andy Geller, who was the voice of ABC, you know, and the voice of Lost. And Andy just has that one voice. But boy, when he reads that copy, you go, yes sir, I will tune into Lost. Because he's got authority, and he's got depth, and he's got gravitas. And he's a good actor. So be a good actor before you worry about being a good voice actor. Voice acting is simply acting without the hair, lighting, makeup, and key light, and hitting your mark. Your mark is, this far from the mic. Other than that, you're an actor. I remember when we were doing a show called Captain Simeon and the Space Monkeys. Thank you! God bless you for yaying. I love that show. It's actually in like my top 10 of shows I've ever done in terms of writing. I love that show, and it was not, I guess, distributed well. And Hallmark didn't quite have its legs yet, but it was one of the very first shows Hallmark financed. It was great. We had DC Fontana writing episodes. We had Star Trek people writing episodes. We had Star Trek people on the show. And Michael Dorn watched Jeff Bennett and I play a bunch of characters in an episode early on. And Michael looked at us and went, wow, you guys are just like real actors. And I looked at him from across the studio. He was about as far away from me. I went, if you were any other man, I would kill you where you stand. What are you talking about, Michael? Of course we're actors. We just don't get in front of the camera. But it's acting, man. It's just, so be a good actor. Be good, take not only scene study workshops, but if you've got anything like improv groups of groundlings where you work on sketch comedy characters, that's extremely helpful too. I mean, a lot of people in animation came from the groundlings, both on the writing end and the performing. Sherry Stoner, who was, Slappy Squirrel, a groundling. Kristen Wiig, who on the Looney Tunes show was Lola Bunny, groundling. I don't know if you've heard of her or not. But that was before she was doing big movies. She was doing some cartoons. Melissa, a groundling. Her husband, a groundling. So anything like that. Anything that helps you work on your comedy chops. Don't worry about your voice. That's for radio. But work on acting. If you're the type of person who's stand-up oriented, you've got a little bent for standing up in front of a microphone telling jokes or doing bits, do that. I mean, 10 years of stand-up comedy really helped me learn where the funny is in reading a line. So these are all the tools that I would do. And then worry about getting on. For all you know, you might, on your way to becoming a good actor, be a stand-up comedian, you might land a TV series and make $250,000 a week. And still go, do a cartoon. But it's okay, it's all open to you. Work on being a good actor first. That's so that's it. With that, I want to thank you guys for coming out. This has been a lot of fun. I've had fun. You guys had fun? Come see me at my table. I'm on at 1.
All right, everyone, unfortunately, thus concludes our spotlight with Maurice. Lovely to meet you. Once again, let's give it a round of applause for Mr. Maurice Lamarche. Mr. Lamarche can be found in both the Hall of Heroes as well as 3 panels here.